Okay, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is Mr. Shakespeare here again with you on the 26th of November 2022. I'm here with psychic medium and remote viewer Liz Cross. How are we doing today, Liz?
Very well, thank you, Mr. Shakespeare. I just want to make a little announcement. I
Sure.
don't think people understand the banter between the two of us. It's very British. And I think sometimes people think that you offend me and you are like the most non-offensive person. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so funny. When you told me, well, Liz, you can go live in the Amazon, that was a joke. People,
Yeah.
that was a joke, right? You
Yeah.
just need to get on board with the British humor. So yeah, I just wanted to make that clear. Mr. Shakespeare does not offend me whatsoever. In fact, I appreciate the difference in opinion. I think it gives that added bonus. Who wants to have somebody agreeing all the time? That's so weird. Okay, anyway, crack on, Mr. Shakespeare. What do you have? Because I don't know anything about this bloke. You asked me about him yesterday, and I don't know who he is.
Well, this is Ross. This is Ross Ulbricht. He He's an American. He was born in about 84, something like that. So it makes him about, 38, 39 years old. His claim to fame or infamy was that he started something called the Silk Road, which ran from about 2011, if I remember, for a couple of years until he got arrested. I believe um, for running what was called the dark net. The problem with the dark net was that anything could be bought and sold on the dark net, and it was mainly paid for with Bitcoin because Bitcoin was the only game in town at the time. So I don't want to say too much more at the moment because I don't want to front load you with anything about too much about him. So
Right.
can you get a connection with him, please?
I've got him.
Okay.
He's actually taken to jail life quite well.
Okay.
That's strange. Now, I wasn't expecting that, but he's used to it now. He fits in. He's found his place. He doesn't get into fights. Do you know where he's in jail?
I believe he's in Tucson in Arizona.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's where he is.
He has a very happy-go-lucky attitude and sort of like, I just take it as it comes. And, he's just resigned himself to the fact that he's in jail for the rest of his life.
Does he? Okay, so that was going to be my first question. Does he actually believe he will spend the rest of his life in jail?
You actually believe that you will spend the rest of your life in jail? Yes.
Wow.
The government will not let him out.
And why does he think that is?
Why do you think that is? They warned him several times about what he was doing. He believes it's his own stupidity, and he takes full responsibility.
Okay. I was not aware that he was warned so many times, so that's interesting. Okay, so had he have taken heed of the first warning, does he think that he would not be in prison now?
If you had taken heed of the first warning, do you believe you would not be in prison? Absolutely. In fact, there's another issue here. So what I'm picking up on is not only was he warned against doing what he was doing, but he also wanted they also wanted him to turn over a lot of data.
Ah.
And he refused.
So that's probably why. See, Silk Road was an online sort of so-called black market. It was one of the first modern darknet markets on the deep web. And it was operated as people who understand Tor browsers, and it was operated as a Tor hidden service. So that means that online users were able to browse it anonymously and securely without potential traffic monitoring. So, of course, that's something that the government does not want. They want to be able to monitor what people are doing on the web, which, you know, with Google and most normal services, that's exactly what they can do. So it was a black market, paid for by people could buy and sell anything, mainly drugs, I believe. Is that correct? Ask him that.
Drugs and trafficking,
Right.
prostitution, pornography, a lot of pedophile activity. There was a lot going on. It was completely out of his control. Right?
Oh, yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I mean, he was the guy who set it up. He didn't buy and sell these things. So, but everybody paid in Bitcoin. And did he earn a fee out of everything that was going on?
Yeah, he made a lot of money. He made a lot.
What happened to all those Bitcoins that he had?
He still has them. They're just locked away.
The government not take them?
Did the government take them? No, he hid them.
Okay. Will the government ever?
He is a multimillionaire with the amount of Bitcoins he has. And he can't even access it.
He can't. And can anybody access them?
No.
Okay.
No, because in order to move them, right, he's got to go deep underground so that he has absolutely no attachment. And he's going to have to find a way to sell them where it's not attached to his name. So the Bitcoin is just sitting there.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of Bitcoin in a lot of accounts just sitting there, and not necessarily, you know, not for nefarious purposes. Just people holding Bitcoin that have held them for years, haven't done anything with them.
Right.
Okay. So how does he propose? I mean, is he trying to get the wealth out for himself? I mean, not being funny, but if he believes that he's going to spend the rest of the life in state pen, that he's not coming out, then the wealth doesn't really help him. Is he going to do something good with that wealth, or if he can ever get it out? Or
no, he will never release that wealth. He will never release it. Is it held on a hard drive? No, it's held online. He's got it stored somewhere online. Do you have access to computers where you are? Very minimal access to computers. Do you still talk to people? He has fans that write to him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, nothing has stopped. I mean, everything is people, trafficking, drugs, everything still carries on. You know, it did before him and it is done. It's been doing, you know, it's happening after him. So nothing has changed. He was the first guy basically to do an online version of everything. I mean, that's his notoriety, if you see. I mean, Bitcoin has had a dark past with things like this. You know, this is what Bitcoin was originally used for, a lot, not completely, but a lot.
Still does. It still does have a dark past. You know, it still is in dark. There's a lot of dark transactions that are being made with Bitcoin.
But not as much as the US dollar, I can tell you. Okay.
No, no.
That is still the number one for every law in the world.
That's very true.
That is very true. Okay. What gave him the idea originally to set this up?
A black market transactional site.
Right.
It was more to do with privacy.
Okay. The trouble is that ultimately, I mean, if I wanted to sell my car, then, you know, I don't need to put it on the dark web. It doesn't really help anybody, does it? I want everybody to see it because I want maximum visibility and I want somebody to come along and buy my car. I mean, the problem with the dark web is, you know, it's synonymous with people who are trying to hide things, whether it's drugs or whether it's, you know, whatever, trafficking. So, I mean, did he not realize that, well, that's what it was going to get used for?
No, I mean, he had some idea, right? But he didn't realize the scale that it was being used for.
Right.
Terrorist groups were using it. People were money laundering to terrorists. Weapons were being bought and sold. Drugs, children, trafficking, enslavement. Was there? I mean, there were a lot of good transactions as well, just from people that were, just wanting to use it. To say I used it. It was so new. I feel at that time, but mostly it was just a nefarious exchange for criminals. He was warned several times. Right. He was. And he was also made an example of.
Was Mark Capellas in any way involved with Silk Road and what you were doing?
Yes. Who is Mark Capellas?
He was one of the guys that set up Mt. Gox exchange.
Oh, okay. You may explain what Mt. Gox is to those people that don't know.
So Mt. Gox, MTGOX, was Magic the Online Gaming, which was originally it was set up in Japan to exchange trading cards. And apparently it was quite successful doing that. And then it morphed into being the world's first Bitcoin exchange. For its sins, it really did put exchanges on the map. It really did do a lot of good in the beginning, because it had a central point where people could buy and sell Bitcoin. In fact, it was the only central point that people could buy and sell Bitcoins from. And Mark Capellas was involved with that from the very outset. But there was talk at the time that he was involved in this Silk Road thing. That's why I asked the question. So.
Okay. Well,
Does he believe that Mark Capellas set him up in any way?
No, he believes Mark Capellas is a good guy. He believes that the government was coming for him no matter what, because they thought shutting down Silk Road was going to eliminate all or most online criminal activity.
Okay, well, that was very naive of them, wasn't it? Because all that's happened since then is it's got worse.
Right. Does he deserve to sit in jail now? No, I don't believe that he does.
Not for life, no. I mean, yes, okay, he's done a few years, but at the end of the day, the government should work with people like this, because it's a bit like, they can help. He could help the government with certain things because he obviously has advanced knowledge of certain things. So, the FBI at the time reported that it had seized 144,000 Bitcoins that belonged to him. Is that true?
It was 144,000 Bitcoin seized. Yeah, they seized that and some property. Yeah, but he's got a lot more hidden away. How much do you have hidden away? 100,000 Bitcoin? He's got about 500,000 Bitcoin.
Wow.
Well, but you have to understand, he's saying at that time, Bitcoin was worthless. It wasn't worth anything.
No, I'm fully aware. I was around the Bitcoin at that point as well. I know. So it actually gives more credence to the fact that a lot of people believe that a lot of Bitcoin, like got a lot of gold, just lies very still. It doesn't move and it doesn't trade. So if he's sitting on 500,000 Bitcoin that nobody's touching, that's 500,000 out of a 21 million maximum pot that's not going to be used. It's the same with, Satoshi Nakamoto's 1 million Bitcoin and the Genesis block, it's the same thing. These coins are not moving anywhere. which makes, the rest of the coins even more valuable. What does he think of the current Bitcoin price? Does he know what it is?
Yes, he knows what it is. What do you think? He just thinks, it's a shame. He has a very positive attitude. I want you all to know that. He's very much like, this is what hand has been dealt to me. He's taking full responsibility. He has a very good attitude.
Does he not, do the government know that he's still got all these Bitcoins hidden away?
No.
Well, they do now.
Well, that's providing that the government listens to Psychic Liz Cross, which out of our 1.4 thousand subscribers, I very seriously doubt that.
Well, I know that, but a friend of a friend of a friend, because you never know, do you? So,
well, that's true. That's true.
I really hope he does not get into any trouble about this. So.
Don't forget, I had somebody claiming to be Satoshi contacting me saying, I am the real Satoshi. By the way, I need a discount for readings. Yeah, okay, love. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, do you think the real Satoshi, whatever his name is, the real Satoshi would need a discount for readings?
No. Who does he think the real Satoshi Nakamoto is?
Who do you think the real Satoshi Nakamoto is? He has no idea.
Okay.
He doesn't know.
Right.
How many Bitcoin does Satoshi actually own? Does anyone know that?
1 million.
I think it's more than that.
Okay.
You want me to probe Satoshi real quick? How many? I feel like it's up to about 4 or 5.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
That's the highest number I've ever heard, I can tell you. Really? 4 to 5 million?
Yes.
My God, do you know what that means, Liz? If it's 5 million, that's like nearly 25% of the entire Bitcoin stock, if you like.
And it doesn't do anything. It just sits there.
Right.
Do you want to get your trusty calculator out and calculate?
Love to. Yeah, love to.
I said to Mr. Shakespeare before we hit the record button, do you actually have a name for your trusty calculator? He says, no, Liz, I don't. I think we should all drop a comment down below what we should call Mr. Shakespeare's trusty calculator that usually makes some sort of appearance during every video.
It does, yes. Okay, calculator ready, Mom.
Okay, so say 4 million. How much is that?
Well, okay, so originally in the code, there's provision for 21 million Bitcoin to be mined in total. The last one is supposed to be mined about 2040. It's accurately predicted that there's somewhere between 2 and 3 million. I think it's probably nearer to 2, but it could be as high as 3 million Bitcoins that have been acknowledged as being lost or unobtainable for whatever reason. I personally have half a Bitcoin, which I've had for about 10 years, which I cannot get at. It was on one of the original wallets and I cannot get at it. So there's probably many people like me. There was a big case of the guy in England who had quite a few thousand on a Bitcoin on a hard drive. There was a problem with the computer and the hard drive ended up in a municipal landfill. And there was a big thing going on. He was going to pay the council and he had people paying millions to get, this hard drive and this computer out. That never happened. So again, those are lost as well. Okay. So if you say that there's 21 million going to be, and you take out say 2 million, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now you take out 4 million, or 5 million, that's 15 million Bitcoin left. So the deflationary effect of Bitcoin is probably not as well understood even by Bitcoin maximalists. I mean, they all believe there's, Satoshi's got one, and there's a couple of million hanging around that they can't be fined. So that's 3. But I mean, it could be as high as 6 or 7, which means that just makes every Bitcoin that much more valuable.
Wow. So if our friend here, Ross, whatever his name is,
Ross Ulbricht.
Yeah, he has 500,000.
Right, and that's another.
He's saying that when this trading was going on, Bitcoin was worth like pennies.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
So
yeah,
literally. How much is he worth?
What, today?
Yeah.
Oh, not much, somewhere in the region of really? Wow. 8.25 billion.
Right. Well, he's, and it's just sitting there. Just sitting there. If he ever does get out, which he doesn't think that he will. Are you doing drugs in jail? No, he's living a clean life. Is he in a white collar crime?
I don't know.
Prison? Yeah, he is.
I would think minimum security, because I mean, he is not dangerous, is he?
No, he's not.
He
just got too big for his boots, unfortunately, and he should have listened.
Yeah.
Any other questions for him?
I would think, is there any plans for him or his legal team to do any more appeals?
Yeah, there are a couple of appeals coming up, but this is being paid for out of money from people that are, his fan base, who are raising money for him. He is truly sorry for what he did. He wasn't thinking properly. I feel, what year was this happened?
2011 to 2013. He was busted in 2013. So 2011. So, Bitcoin had only just come to some people's attention. I think I got in about 2011. It was about that. Yeah.
Right. Well, he just wasn't thinking clearly. He really wasn't. He acknowledges that.
I think he's been naive. I mean, the idea of just an online marketplace that pays, that you can pay in Bitcoin is actually a brilliant idea. The trouble is, it will always attract things that can't be put on eBay. Simple as that. And the problem is if there's a market, the market always needs two participants rather, a buyer and a seller. And so things like drugs, which have been sold for years, 100 years, drugs have been sold, but it's just another way of selling them, for example.
Well, Uber Connect, there's a service here in the US called Uber Connect. Guess what they're doing?
Running drugs.
Wow, how would you ever know?
Oh, what a guess.
Yeah, well, they're selling
people will always find a way round whatever is in their way to do, because the private sector are the creative people. Government only ever react. They never actually provide or do anything. They only react to what's going on. So it's the private sector in every walk of life that comes up with the creative answers to solve problems. Now, obviously, a lot of people might think that these are not problems that need solving, and in fact, everybody involved in them should be locked up forever. But privacy is important, and he was a privacy advocate, wasn't he? So unfortunately, he was very, very naive.
He is. He definitely was. Well, can you pull up Uber Connect for me, please?
Sure.
Because Uber Connect is coming under a lot of fire. Basically, they've just facilitated a way for packages and other things to be delivered from one place to another.
Right, which again is a brilliant idea. So what's wrong with that? You know, it's just put a small package in a bike or a car or whatever, and it's great. But of course, you know, who knows what's in the packages now? You know,
that's the problem. And I think there was a package. Now, I don't know the full gist of the story because I actually switched it off. I didn't want to know. But I think that there was a package which an Uber Connect driver touched. And I do believe it had fentanyl on the package. And you see what I mean? You see where this is going. And, you know, I don't know a lot about fentanyl. Fentanyl really wasn't in the UK when I was working for the police. I mean, I'm sure it was around somewhere, but not on the scale it is now. And so apparently, if you touch fentanyl, like in high quantities or whatever, especially if you are prone to, you know, a bad quick reaction to it, you can become, you know, you can overdose and you can die. So that is a big deal now with the Uber Connect. So let's ask Uber Connect, do you plan on stopping your Uber Connect service? No, because it works like a courier service. Now, in the big cities like New York, LA, London, Hong Kong, you know, I don't know why they just threw Hong Kong at me. It's a very beneficial service. You know, it's an easy way. It's a cheap way for people to send things from one place to another. And, you know, you just do it on the phone. So they have no intention of stopping the service. And I'm like, but do you actually educate your drivers to know what to look for if there is a suspicious package? Now, that's a no.
How can you do that, though, Liz? How can you educate? How is an Uber driver supposed to know what a suspicious package is? They don't have access to you know, sort of X-ray scanning machines and things like that. How do you know? What is a suspicious packet?
What is a suspicious package? Well, it's mainly drugs.
Yeah, but how would anybody know that? How would people know that?
Well, it's the state of the people that are sending the packages. It's who's sending them and who's receiving them. And technically, you're supposed to report it to law enforcement. However, do you think that people who are dependent upon what little bit of money they get from being an Uber Connect driver are going to do that? No, of course not.
No.
That's a problem. Okay. So I think this is a good probe. Anybody have any further questions for this guy who created the Silk Road, or any comments? Please do drop them down below. I do ask that you remain respectful in your comments, okay? Please do that. We are respectful people. We put out the information in a respectful way. I expect the same. So please do that. Be nice. Be nice. Be polite. It costs nothing. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. And this was a great one, Mr. Shakespeare. And this was your idea. So thank you very much. Well done.
Liz, just before you go.
Oh, yes.
Can we just pop Mount Gox into the picture here? Sorry.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
Okay, what would you like to know?
Was Mount Gox ever going to trade Bitcoin again?
No.
Okay. What happened to all the lost Bitcoins?
What happened to some of them are gone forever. I feel like something's being released. I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Was Mount Gox ever hacked, or was it an inside job?
Was Mount Gox ever hacked? No, I feel like it was the inside job.
That's what I thought. That's what most people think. Yeah. Okay. All right. That'll do for now.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.